Hi, guys, and welcome to Becoming a Mommy. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're with me, Louisa, and obviously Sue. Hey, Sue,
Hi
how are you?
everybody.
So, how's it been?
Um
I feel like that's been a thing nowadays where we just,
yeah.
how's everything been? What now? We try and catch up so we all know how we're doing.
Um the week's been good. I've had a couple of days off this week, so that's been relaxing. And
Yeah,
also a little bit more time to spend with my daughter. So I've really enjoyed that because the past couple of months have been hectic.
I saw
And
your
yeah,
graduation
can't wait
pictures
for
and you looked
December.
awesome.
Yes, yes, super awesome. And yeah, I just can't wait for December to come so that everybody will be at home and just chill, you know. So,
Yeah,
yeah, how was your week? How have
well,
you been?
so it's been awesome as well. I just started my 2 day, 2.5 days holiday. But when we upload this, my holiday will be done. So I'll be back on at work on Monday, but I'm on a 2.5 day holiday because it's Evan's birthday.
Yes,
As we
tomorrow.
record,
It's actually tomorrow, isn't
yes,
it?
yeah.
Oh,
So his birthday is on
happy birthday! In advance,
Thursday.
tell him I wished it. Say, tell him
Well,
happy
it's going to
birthday.
now. It's going to yeah. Like I'll tell him you've said it in advance, but like when we upload this, it would have already passed. So yeah, So his birthday is tomorrow, which is Thursday, the 1st of December. Yeah, he
Oh
was
my
born on the
word.
first. It's Evan's birthday, and I decided I just wanted to stay home and be with him on his birthday and the day after, and then figure out what we're doing. Like on Sunday. I
For
already
the
know what we're
lunch.
doing, but the weather has now changed. So I'm trying to sort out how I'm going to fit everyone in my house, everyone that's invited. So now it's like a whole new stress on my part, but
Oh my word.
I'm I am so into making it work, and I know I'll make it work. So
It
yeah,
will
that's
work.
that's
It will
about
work.
it. Yeah, but I'm so excited. I didn't know I'd be so excited. I'm excited, but I'm a little bit sad. I'm excited and I'm a little bit sad about this whole situation because I'm just like, why are you turning one? Like, where are you rushing to?
Can you imagine
you
when,
know?
just say he's turning 20 or 30, how you gonna feel then?
I don't know. I was asking her, I was like, how do you feel when you see me getting older? She's always just like, sometimes I look at you and I still remember you as a baby. And I was like, this is how I feel this is the image that I'm going to cling on to with this child because I don't want him to grow up. But yeah, let me just say something. So I've written a letter for him. I'm hoping my website will be up and running when he's like 15 or 16 or 20. But I've written a letter for him. It's an open letter and it's on my website. So if anyone wants to just, have an oh moment or why are you writing this? Just go on my website and read it. Like, yeah, it's just there. It's sitting right there. But anyway, let's now get on to today's topic, which I wanted
Yay!
us to delve into another topic which is very, very serious. Because obviously, we've done single mom and married mom, we've done working mom and stay at home mom. These were all serious, topics. So I wanted to follow it up with something again serious because it's important for moms, be it a new mom or someone who's had three, four kids, you know. It's something that maybe we don't really think about it as much, but it's something we have to it's always at the back of our mind somehow.
Yeah.
And this is about how we think our life experiences are shaping up, our motherhood or our parenting styles, basically. Because obviously you don't just wake up and say, I'm going to be this mom. There has to
Yeah.
be something that gives you a reason to be the kind of parent that you are. So this is just you and I sharing about our little life experiences and how we think it's shaping up to, the moms we are today. So let's start with you, Sue. How's it like growing
Why
up?
are you starting with me?
If I need
um,
the video, you're always going to start.
for me, I think you mentioned something. I wanted to speak about that first before I go into my experiences. You
Yeah,
mentioned how you don't just wake up and say, I'm this kind of mom, you know. Um,
yeah,
Another thing that we also like to do is to tell ourselves that I'm going to be this kind of mother. This is how, like, you have a whole list, or you know the things you want to tick as a mother. But
yeah,
when it comes
yeah.
to the practical experience and when it comes to actually doing those things, um,
It's
it's
different.
hard. It's really hard. And don't kick yourself. You're not the only person out there not living up to the expectations. Like, we always have expectations, and a lot of the times we don't meet them because of whatever circumstances that don't allow you to meet them. So because of that,
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out there, that this child. Can you hold on for a second? I just want to push my door a little bit. Mm. Yeah, I am so sorry. Um,
I'm
anyway,
so going to leave that in.
as I was saying, it's like we all have boxes we want to tick, and we don't have, go back and watch TV, and we don't always tick them. So that being said, I'll say personally, one of the things I'm very intentional about is being physically affectionate with my child. I feel like that is very
Yeah,
important, and that for me just comes from a childhood that didn't really have that. And I feel like a lot more could have been done for me in terms of that. I'm a
yeah,
very affectionate person. So I feel like, yeah, more could have been done. And because of that, I actually like check myself and be like, I think I'm smothering now, like I'm overdoing it. I need to pull back a bit. But it's impulse to me because I
yeah,
keep telling myself I need to do it more. I need to do it more because of that. So that's like one aspect of life experiences. Something Another thing I'm really struggling with, and I actually, after I share this, I actually want you to like come in and tell me what you think about it, is discipline. I do not want to
yeah,
be a parent that smacks, although on on occasion I get this close, or on occasion I will, but I really don't want to be. I don't want it to be a constant thing. Sometimes it happens as a reflex, especially because that's how I grew up. Like, you would
yeah,
know if you do something, that is that is the consequence. I also don't want to be a
yeah,
parent that raises their voice a lot. Although, especially this past couple of weeks have been very trying for me. It has been happening because this child
yeah.
that's just decided that turning 3 means naughty. And at times I have to like zen myself and be like, calm down, it's just a child.
Hmm.
But it gets, you are going to be telling us stories, Louisa, when your child is a toddler. I want to hear all the toddler stories when we get there. But anyway, yeah, that's also another thing for me. So the discipline part, I'd like to think, even for many people might even think, why am I fighting it? If I should, I must just do it. But I really don't want, especially um like when I was potty training my daughter, at first,
Yeah,
like, everyone would say, if you want a child not to do something, this is the way to do it. And I tried it, and it actually made my daughter scared of the potty, so she didn't want to go there anymore, until I tried positive reinforcement. So if she would spoil herself or whatever, I would just tell her, don't do that, with a stern, voice and face, and then just carry on like nothing happened. And then when she did go potty herself, and then I'll make like a big thing out of it. I made a song. I can't remember what song it was, but I made a song at the time and would clap and dance and make our way to the treat. She likes biscuits, so I would give her a biscuit. But I didn't have the biscuit close to her potty, so we'll like on the way there be singing and dancing and clapping, and until actually when she was trained, she would potty herself, get up, sing and dance her way to the treats, and I'm like, you're done, like you're qualified now. We're not treating you for doing the right thing. But yeah, so for me that was also it's also a thing that I think is very much influenced by my life experiences. And I'd like to know, like, is that a thing that you think about? I know Evan is still so young, so probably you're not thinking about
Yeah.
so much about disciplining a child, but you know
No, but there are days. There are days when, just because he's one now, I guess, doesn't mean he's not mischievous. You can see the twinkle of, that mischievous thing in his eye. And he looks at you when he's about to do something where he knows
yeah.
you won't be okay with it. It's not like he doesn't know. I actually feel like he has one of those where he knows because he tastes the waters first, where he's like, are you going to do anything or is it safe? But regardless, I feel like currently I lean more into, Evan, don't do this. If you do this, this is what's going to happen, where I'm trying to get to a point where I'm just like, this is how I want to raise him. I tell him that whatever you're doing is wrong. This is a consequence of what you're doing. If you decide to do it, that's you. There's going to be a consequence to it, you know? But at the same time, I've gotten to a point where I start seeing these behaviors from my mom and the helper, where it's just they too sometimes kind of snap a little,
Yeah.
especially if they've told him something, he keeps doing it, or he's crying for something. Especially now, um, it almost feels like you can't really do anything. He wants to do whatever he wants to do. He doesn't want to hear you
It's
say no
only
or
gonna
whatever
get
because
worse.
he understands no. Yeah, he understands the word no. And so each time I say no in my Venek, which
Mm.
is I, he will go I, which also means no. So it's almost like it's a push and pull
Yeah.
where I say no, he says no. And it's the same thing with my mom and the helper. So I can see that they sometimes want to snap or sometimes they say things in a snappy voice. And there are times when I have to check them where I'm just like, no, he's a baby, like, no need for anyone to talk to him in a snappy voice. This is not what I want. But regardless, I think with me, it comes from a point where I was raised in a way where you were told no to certain things, but I wasn't told the reason why I'm being told no. So I've grown up where I've always wanted just to see why am I being told no to
No,
this,
yeah.
you know? Yeah, so that's why I'm kind of like trying to train myself while he's still young, well, I'm like, I don't want to tell him just no. I want to give him a reason as to why I'm saying no. That way he understands that, okay, mommy's saying no because
And
of
this is
this. If I
why.
do this, this is going to happen. Yeah. So I think with me, that's something that I told myself from earlier days when I had him. I was just like, this is not what I want to do for him because I know how it affected me, you know I would rather give reasons to why my decisions are being made and hopefully have him understand that this is why mommy is doing this. And I started, like I said, I started doing it earlier because I figured the earlier I start, the more it not only gets stuck in him, but it also gets stuck
Get
in me.
stuck in you,
So
yeah.
the
In as
more
much
he,
as he
yeah,
doesn't
the more he
understand what you're
grows, the more
telling
it's a
him,
culture
it's
for me
it's
where it's
more of a
like,
habit
do
on
this,
your
do
end.
that. And, that's something that I have grown to do. And currently, it's not as, but at the same time, I feel like another important thing for me raising him is I go back to seeing how, like, when I was raised a single child by a single mom, And so it's funny that now I have a child and I'm also a single mom, which is almost like a culture thing. Like, oh, okay, this is, it's almost a chain. But at the same time, I try and see some of the things that I disliked about, my mom when I was growing up, because there are times when I don't think parents understand this, but that the certain things that come out of their mouth that, to them might sound normal, but to a baby or a kid, it might sound like, you're the blame, you know? So it's
Yeah.
almost as if your father was here, this was what would have happened if your father was here. And so the things like that I try not to like, I'm I keep telling myself this is not what I want to do, you know. I don't ever want to be like, if your father was here, I would have slept. I might say that, um I try and say that away from him when he's not around. I'll say it to my best friends, I'll say it to my friends, and just be
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to rest. If the dad was here,
In
like
front of
constantly
them.
here, he would have the baby out. Yeah. But I never want to do that in front of him, because I never want to make him feel like he is like, oh, I'm almost regretting him being around, just because, oh, if this had happened, this would have happened, or you're doing this, if your father was here, you wouldn't have been doing this. Because at the end of the day, it should never be like that. So these are things that I carry with me, and I'm hoping that it never changes, because, and I keep saying I'm hoping, because I know that it's just been a year and there's growth in him coming along. Next, he'll be 2 years and 2 days,
In you as
and then
well.
he'll be three.
Like,
Yeah,
perspectives change all the time, like,
exactly.
as he grows, you grow too, you learn new things.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was talking to my husband, when was that? I think a week ago or so. And we were talking about how much this child has grown. Like, like when a baby is a baby, they have a baby face. And over the
Mm-hmm.
past couple of weeks, it just seems like she has a grown up face now. And because of that, it's as if, because she knows, and she's just testing boundaries. And I also think that's why, like, the discipline thing was like at the top of my mind when we spoke about this, because it's really something I've been thinking about a lot. And for her, she's like really testing, really trying to push. It's like when she cries now, I can tell it's a fake cry, but it is loud, and she knows that she's most probably gonna get what she wants because you just want her to shut up. But I'm at the point where I'm like, cry it out. If it's gonna take you 2 hours to figure out that I'm not gonna give you what you need, then cry for 2 hours, because we really cannot be doing this. And especially now,
Yeah.
because she knows, like the way you were saying, Evan will like say it back or will look at you in a knowing way. It's literally like that, but worse, because this child literally knows what they are doing. I'll give you an example. Say she
Yeah.
takes something, my picture frame, and I don't want her playing with my picture frame because it's going to fall, it's going to break, and she's going to hurt herself.
Great. Yeah.
So I'll tell her, no, don't do that. She'll tell me, she's actually still learning to speak. So she'll literally say, no, don't do that. Everything you say, she's going to say after you. And then I'll tell her to put it back, and she knows she must put it back. She'll lift it up, act like she's putting it back, only to like literally like just put it down and pick it up again and take it. And I'm like, no, I said put it back. And she'll be, oh, you tell her to sit down. You want her to eat. She'll act like she's sitting, she'll go down a bit and then she'll jump up and be like, I'm not gonna do it. I know you want me to do it, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do it. So it's things like that. And I'm like, why? This child, sit down, and you have to enforce, you know. And she needs to know there's
Yeah.
consequences if you don't, because I'm giving you an
But like,
instruction, and this is my
yeah,
house. Like when I was a child, and my mom always used to be like, this is my house, and I was like,
it's
this
that
woman is
house.
crazy. I live here too. I feel like that. And she's only 3.
But like, um, so another reason I think I brought up this topic was I was having a chat with a friend, and she said she has is it an 8 or 9 year old girl, and she said for the first time she actually hit her, and at that moment she kind of had regret in her eyes, where she was just like, I didn't afterwards, like I didn't feel great about myself. And I think it came from a point where she was raised in that same environment where she was beaten up for doing something wrong. That was, her way of her parents' way of discipline. Now she feels guilty because she feels like she's becoming the same parent, where she's like, this is how my parents parented me, and this is how now I'm parenting my child. I'm doing the same things my parents used to do.
The same things she
Now
didn't
I
like
brought
about
this,
the parenting.
yeah. Now I'm bringing this up because when we started the chat, you said something, to do with the same way. You're just like, if you did something wrong, this is what was used to happen. Do you now, like when you see your baby, do you ever get, that feeling where you're just like, oh my gosh, it's annoyed me so much, I want to like smack her?
Um, I, I do. I
And it's not, there's
and
nothing wrong with it.
even there were times, even when she was like a baby, where I would just get so frustrated and be like, like, what am I gonna do with this child?
Hmm.
And you just find ways to deal with it. I think other
Yeah.
ways you need to find, like, for me personally, I don't think the naughty corner thing would work with my daughter, especially right now. I don't think it would work. So I kind of need to find a space where it doesn't take me back to the way that I was parented, but at the same time, she needs to understand that I am saying no. Like,
No. Yeah.
because for her, like, literally for her, crying is the solution to everything. If you tell her no and she doesn't want your no, she'll literally start crying, and she knows it irritates the both of us. So I'm in a space where I'm like, lately, especially these past couple of weeks, if you're gonna cry for 2 hours, cry for 2 hours. I'm gonna leave you, because I just cannot
Yeah.
deal. And I need her to understand that crying is not a solution. It's not a way out. I'm not intimidated by her crying, so she needs to find another way of trying to get the things she wants, if that's what she wants, because it's really not gonna work, because it's been working for her. But I also don't want to
Yeah.
be that parent as well, so it's a growing thing. We adjust and we find ways as we go along. I'll use your friend's example as, like, she did it, she can't take it back, it happened.
Yeah.
But I think it also goes back to what you were saying, to say she needs to sit her child down, especially because the child is a little bit older. The child would understand a bit, to say, I was frustrated, this is not how I want to parent you, this is not how I want to do things, but it happened, and I'm sorry. That's also like another thing as well, um also influenced by, life experiences. Like, I want to
Yeah.
be able to have conversations with my child, talk about things, not just impose myself, because I don't ever think I've ever heard my parents say sorry. you know if
Yeah.
they're wrong, they would never, ever, ever say sorry. And in a way, it makes me perceive them in a certain way. It also makes me feel a certain way, because I'm like, I'm expected to, but then, and for me, it's something that I would really want to be very conscious of with my child. Um, and like I was saying, if your friend sits the child down, expresses that she's sorry, that this is not the way she wants to do things, she snapped because of A, B, C, D, E, and if a child can just understand and not also help her not get there, I think
Yeah.
nobody wants to be on the other end of that. So if the child understands, they will. be in better spaces going forward, and both of them will be conscious of the situation. Yeah, and I just want to circle back to what I was saying. It's I think you also mentioned how, you want to be conscious of the things you say in front of your child. It's also a thing for me because it's a lot of words have a lot of impact, you know,
Yeah.
on children, especially. Like, I'm also very conscious of not saying things um like you're stupid or you're crazy, or you know um negative stuff. I want to
Yeah.
enforce the good things. So if the child is being crazy, like she likes being crazy, then I'm not gonna go and say you are a crazy person. Even if you say it in a joking way, I think that's also like a big thing that I must put out there. That sometimes we say things while we are joking, we don't really mean it, but you don't know, especially for children, they might not be able
Yeah.
to differentiate between when you're joking, and especially if you say those same things when you're angry. So when you're joking,
Hmm.
your child is not going to know that now we're playing. You're just reinforcing whatever you had said when you're angry, and a child will grow up with these feelings of not feeling very worthy or useful or intelligent, because your parent is telling you over and over that you're useless, you're stupid, you're crazy, you all these things, and you start to believe those things. So yeah, I also think that's also like something that's very important to be mindful of. um,
Yeah.
let's just not say the things at all. Don't joke about it. Don't say it when you're angry. Just don't, because you need to be
Yeah.
reinforcing the good things, the you're beautiful, you're loved, you're worthy, and over, because it takes one word from somebody. You can be saying all these beautiful things about your child over and over, and one person in school bullies your child and everything is gone. So imagine if you've been telling your child these negative things, and then somebody from school comes and reinforces those things as well, how
Yeah.
much damage
It
that
kind of
can
just
do.
makes it sink in.
So it's better to just be the safe space.
Yeah. That's very true. I actually totally agree with all that. Um, Especially on like saying positive affirmations to babies, kids in general. A friend of mine told me, said, Evan is not too young for you to not tell him positive
No.
affirmations. So I started when he was young, where like on any given day, at any given time, I'll just call him, hey handsome. And there are days now when I'm like, hey handsome, and he'll smile, or he'll giggle, and I'm like, yeah, and I try and make sure I keep the same energy, like on every platform. I'm just like, I think I had a friend once say, "Oh my God, why do you always say your baby is beautiful?" I was like, "Yeah, but like, I'm not lying. He is. I don't
Yeah.
care if you have other thoughts, but like, I find him beautiful, and if that's how I see him, I'm going to put it out there as a beautiful boy every single time I speak about him, And so these are things that I try and make sure almost every day, or sometimes we'll just look in the mirror, he'll like start smiling and whatnot, and I'll pour any positive thing that's coming right off my head and just be like, here it is, like here it all. That's you. That's all you. But I've learned that because I do that mostly because also I grew up in an environment where my mom would tell me how beautiful I was, even on the worst days. Just be like, oh my God, I would have pimples. I remember just a few days ago, I have my face is breaking out. I don't know if you guys can see, but like my face is breaking out so badly. But and I was complaining to my mom. I was like, oh my God, my face is breaking out so bad. And my mom was like, so who cares? You're beautiful anyway. And I was like, oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I guess. Like, who cares? What's a breakout? you know but my mom made me grow up in an environment where I was very sure, like even if someone said anything negative about me, my mom made sure I believed in how in who I am and everything that I stand for. So she's always told me I was beautiful. She's always told me I was smart. Even if I failed a test, she was just like, next time you do better, you're smart already, you know? And it made me grow up in a way where I do have self esteem issues. I'm not going to lie. It's not like just because I was told I was beautiful or this or that, it means everything is perfect in my world. But it kind of cushions how you deal with stuff, you know? Um,
Yeah.
sometimes I don't have to have a hustle of dealing with my self esteem ways the same way other people say they do, because at the end of the day there's this thing at the back of my mind where I'm just like, mom says I'm beautiful, mom says I'm
Exactly.
this, and
Exactly. That's
who's it
exactly what I
like.
mean.
Hmm. So yeah, basically that's what I do with my kid, and I keep saying I pray, this is how it is until the end of days, until the day I die or anything. But like, these are parenting styles that I'm hoping he and I both grow into, where we're just like, this is you, this is me. Like, things that I really want to carry forward. But at the same time, I'm not ashamed to say that the things that I saw when I was growing up that I never liked from my mom, um, be it my mom, my aunts, any parental figure in my life, the things that I noted down where I was just like, this is not what I like, you know? I
Mm.
remember the first time my mom hit me was, I don't know, when I was like 17, 18, but that was because I got mad. I got very angry. I left the house for 3, 4 days. I never called. I never did anything. I just left. I went to a friend's house. I stayed there for 3, 4 days, and then I came back home. And she was really pissed at me because for the amount of days that I had left the house, she wasn't able to go anywhere. She couldn't go to work. She couldn't do this because she was stressed out of her mind. And I remember that was the first time she hit me. And literally 2 hours later, she came back and she apologized, which was just like, I've never hit you before. I'm very sorry. It'll never happen again. And it took me a while to like forgive. I remember I even told my dad, I was like, so this is why I left the house. I come back and she's hit me. She's never hit me my entire life. Why is she starting to hit me now? You know? Because I found it strange because I had never been beaten my whole life. Like, why are you beating me now? I just left because I thought you and I both needed to call off. But I've seen some of my aunts like really hit their kids and whatnot. And I remember staying with one of my aunts for a while, and I think I saw so much of her hitting her baby. I thought it was fine. Well, I thought that was the only means of discipline, you know. But now coming into it, I'm always looking at my own, and I'm just like, I don't think this is a life. I would rather be the same way my mom was in that department, where I don't think I ever want to like discipline him in that way, where I put my hands on him. I would rather words do the thing. I don't know how the dad decides to like daddy out around him, but that is me. That is my parenting style. And you know, I tell my helper this all the time. When I'm just like, when he's growing up, there is nothing like, oh, I'm going to hit you, or oh, I'm going to do this. There is no putting hands on him. There's no doing this because I was never hit. I was never beaten when I was a kid. He's not going to go through something that you know I've never experienced. But at the same time, I'm trying to make sure I eliminate everything that I feel I did not like when I was growing up, because I don't see the importance of putting forward something that I didn't like just for him to experience the same thing and then maybe grow up and hate me when he's older.
What's one thing that you are very conscious of, let's put it that way, that maybe your parenting
Um,
figures did?
Words, like you said, words. Um, I think everything you said about words is something that I've gone through, where, and my mom being part of, you know, my mom never hit me, but I think her words were, and I've gotten to realize that her and I kind of do this interchangeably, where she'll call me stupid in joke, like a jokey way, and there are times when I'm just like, "Oh, stupid," you know. But I've gotten to realize that, like you said, when she's angry, she uses the same words. And the older I get, the more I realize, oh, this is how it always used to be when I was a kid as well. So these are
Yeah.
not words that I'm not familiar with. I've grown up with those words, like, oh, stupid, idiot, whatnot. Yeah, they might be said with a bit of innocence, but they do have a lasting, you know,
They do. Um,
consequence on a person. Yes.
I
So
actually,
those are some of the things that
oh, sorry,
gone.
sorry I cut you off.
No,
Um,
it's fine.
I, w- I was gonna say, in some ways, I actually say, like, believe that corporal punishment, like the smacking, might actually be better. None of them are good, but I feel like in a
Yeah,
way it might actually it be better than words, because the words stick, they play around. Of course, like if you're smacked or whatever, it does mess you up in its own way. And I was a child who got both. It wasn't a lot. I can count on one hand how many times my mom beat me, but most of the times it was for probably not getting good grades at school, or like I didn't clean the house in time. I was playing and she comes back and the house is upside down or something like that. And but the words, it was like even some of the, like some things that in my opinion did not deserve that. And like you said, even if it's said in a joking way, if you tell me that when you're angry, and then you tell me one day when you're joking and you're like, you're just crazy, and one, like a day before, a couple of weeks before, you told me you're crazy and you were about to shake my head off of me, like, for me it's just like reinforcing.
yeah,
And yeah, that's like something I'm also like very conscious of, something that I don't ever want to do, you know.
but
You
like
can only hope,
something that,
because like we said, people change, things happen, but it's
yeah,
also in the acknowledging, when something happens and you're like, I am sorry this thing happened, and I will check myself in future so it doesn't happen again. That's also like a thing. And
yeah,
also just the communication, I think that's also another thing that I also want to be very conscious of, like talking, literally having proper conversations with children, because children understand, in as much as we think they're just kids. So I'm not gonna, I don't owe you an explanation. It messes children up, and we need to be
yeah,
able to be more open and talk, you know. And it goes
yeah,
for a lot of things, this
and
communication thing, because you want your child to be
yeah,
free enough to tell you things if they're not okay, if something's wrong, if they encounter something, if they want to find out something, you should be, as the parent, should be their first stop. So the only way to do
hmm,
that is if you allow yourself to be a bit vulnerable in front of them. They know they can be open and vulnerable with you as well.
yeah. So anyway, I think this has been, you know, a very interesting chat. We've been having interesting chats. I feel like the next episode just has to be us just, having a fun topic, because wow. These have been serious. But to close off, I think the last thing that I would probably say is I was a very judgmental person before I had a child. I was very judgmental to parents, and how they chose to parent the kids. Being a parent now, I would like to apologize to every parent prior, like who came before me. I am so sorry for being so judgmental. Please forgive me, because sometimes we have these fantasies. Like you said earlier, we have these fantasies of how we want to parent our kids, our non-existent kids, and then the kids come by and you're like, oh, now I understand why that person said they do this. There's one person on Twitter who keeps saying nobody who has a kid can tell me what to do because it's a whole different ball game when you have a kid. You know what? I understand you because that's right. If you don't have a kid, please be more understanding of parents. Like, you might have your own thinking of how parenting should be like, but trust me, when you're a parent, all that thing goes away and a whole new set of rules come by. It's not as easy as one, two, three. It's not as ABC. It's a whole lot of XYZ, GHI, and all that. The whole alphabet, you can't really remember it. That's how, weirded out it is. So I just wanted to apologize. I was judgmental. No, I'm not. And for those of you that don't have kids, please don't judge me. Spare me. Spare me, please. I'm just human, okay?
Oh my.
Anyway, so it's been awesome.
It's
To
been
all of you guys
great.
still watching, why do we still have 76% of you watching us but not subscribing? It doesn't make sense. We're trying to get to
Why?
100 before the year ends. Like, come on, guys.
It
It's
doesn't
just
even take
as
you a
easy as
minute to just click that
no.
button.
It's just one button away. Like, why? But anyway, we still thank you for watching. Hopefully, you'll be with us again in the next episode. It's been awesome. Follow us on our social media platforms. Subscribe, like, comment. We love engaging with everyone who, likes to engage with us. So please be that person, engage with us.
And
But until next
share,
time,
share, tell your
yes,
people and share the
y-
video, share the platforms, tell people to subscribe and
yes,
click that button.
exactly. Until next time, we'll see you guys. Goodbye.